What's up everyone and welcome back. So this is the random match I just played and you have to see. Now, the game starts with his lead Oran Guru and my lead Rabaska. Now my Rabaska has the move Bug Buzz, which is super effective against this Pokemon because this is a psychic type and Bug Buzz is a bug type move, so which can KO it. So I click it and it switches out to OP now and does only 44%. And he goes for Onko, forcing me to use Bug Buzz. And he heals himself Roost with 4 consecutive times. And he switches out to Volcanion. And I go for Bug Buzz, which is only 24%. And gets the special defense drop. Now, my Rabaska also has the move Thunderbolt and Earth Power. This Volcanion is a ground and water type Pokemon which is weak to both electric and ground type move. But now I could go for a Thunderbolt and KO it. But what if he switches out to Wall Beat, and it just becomes a resisted hit? I wanted a way to almost KO it, even if the Wall comes in. So I go for an Earth Power. He goes for Flamethrower, which is 60%, and I go for Earth Power. It's a super effective move, and a crit KOs the Volcanion. Now, since it's the first KO of the match, I have a kind of good advantage because the early mean you get an early advantage as the early you KO a Pokemon. So, but my Rabaska is also at 39% health, which means it can get KO'd. And he sends out Lantern. Now, this is a water and electric type, which makes it again weak to electric and ground type moves. But the thing is, it may have Volt Absorb, so Thunderbolt will not do any damage and it will just heal it. So the closer I can go is Earth Power, which can at least do some damage. Right? The turn begins. He uses Thunderbolt, I survive, I go for an Earth Power, and it does for almost 50%. Well, if it did a 50%, I would have been a bit more happy, but it's alright. Right? Now, in the next turn, he goes for Thunderbolt and KOs me, and I switch out to REGISTEEL. Huh? Why is my REGISTEEL green? REGISTEEL is supposed to look like this and not like this. Oh my god, it's a shiny. This is one of the now coolest moments. It is actually, the odds are 1 in 1024. And this is my first shiny in Pokemon Shadow, basically. I have already a shiny Zapdos in the I have already in Fire. I think I posted a video about that. So he goes for a Volt Switch, and you can see here I have typed this. Look at this. Is it a shiny? Me and my open literally chatted what happened. I even searched Google like, oh, is it really possible to get a shiny and what are the odds? And he switches out to Warbeat and I go for Iron Defense. But that thing hits me with an Onko and I'm forced to use Iron Defense and it roosts itself 2 different times. That's very thing and irritating, and my Encore ends. But this guy sets up an Encore again. So what is supposed to do? I switched out to Farigiraf and he used Thunder Wave, which paralyzed me. and he went for a lunge, which also dropped my attack and does 50%. And I go for a body slam, which also paralyzes him. And my leftovers heals a bit. Uh, well, that's actually good. The next turn, it goes for another lunge, but I survive at 5% because of the leftovers. Thanks to leftovers. But I stay fully paralyzed, so it doesn't matter. And he goes for another lunge and it KOs me. So and I go into swallowed. He goes for an encore but it fails because this has the ability Prankster, which makes all non-damaging move go for move gets a +1 priority. But encore only becomes useful when I go for an attack. But this is a +1 this becomes encore as a priority move, so it won't do any damage until the following turn. And I go for gong shot, which misses Warbeat. Why? Like, why? He switches into a leftover and I go for another gong shot, which hits and does 50% of its health, but does not get the poison. He terraslas into ground and goes for an earthquake, but I barely survive, and the life of recoil does it comes to 40%, and I go for an earthquake which does 30%, and now he is left with the health only of 10%, and my sword is at 2% health. Now the thing is, life orb gives a recoil of 10%. So if he goes for any attacking move right now, no matter what happens with his Electivire, this thing's gonna KO. But the life of recoil is gonna KO his Electivire as well. And that's what happens. He goes for an earthquake which KOs my Swallow. But the life of recoil also takes down me. Now at this point, I am at a disadvantage. I have 3 Pokemon fainted while is only 2. But I have got to know all of his Volbeat's attack, which is great, and 2 of Lantern's attack, and Oranguru's none because it didn't even do anything. And he still have 1 additional Pokemon. It's a mystery. But I have 2 additional Pokemon, which is a mystery. And he has almost 0. He has only one. He knows only 2 moves of my REGISTEEL. That is Iron Defense and Body Press. Well, I didn't use Body Press, but you can actually know it because what do you mean? If I had body press, if I had iron defense, that's the only reason I would use iron defense because it deals more damage. And now he switches to Warbeat and I send in Rampardos. Now the Rampardos has Sheer Force with Life Orb, which means it gets almost 60% damage boost. So what I do is very simple. He switches into Oranguru and I go for Fire Punch, which does 50%. He heals with his leftovers and goes for Focus Blast, and I survive with Slither of HP. Now, I want a Rock Slide. A Fire Punch won't KO from this range, but a Rock Slide will. So, I go for a Rock Slide and it KOs it. Suddenly, we are equal, but well, I can actually win this unless his last Pokemon is a legendary, like anything, Regice, Regigigas, any legendary. that can KO me. That would be the end. And he goes for Zapdos Galar. Great. What do you mean? This is like such a disadvantageous position. He can actually KO every single Pokemon, no matter what. So, I have lost the battle. I had no hope of winning, but I didn't want to give up just yet because my brain, my stubbornness told to never forfeit this match. I wanted to push myself to the end until the last Pokemon has fainted, until the last HP is gone. And he goes for knockoff, KOing my Rampardos. But he also loses 9%, or should I say it's actually basically 10%. But no, who cares? It doesn't. It's just numbers. So due to life of recoil, he has got the. Well, it did damage to itself. As long as that's good, I'm fine. And I send in Urshifu Rapid Strike, and he switches into Lantern. Now I divide myself into water. I don't know how to draw it. 1 second. Let me just try it. Like you draw this big water droplet on its head. Yeah, and I went for Surging Strikes, which hits thrice. But as soon as he switched into Lantern, my heart sank because I thought it had water absorb. But guess what? It did damage, so it doesn't have the Volt Absorb ability, and it almost KOs it. In the next turn, I guarantee to KO it because I even have the life up. So I go for Surging Strikes and I KO it. That is awesome. And he switches into Warp Beat. And you know what I did? You have to just watch. He deserved this. This Pokemon was the little nightmare. I hated this. And now comes the Zapdos. Now, I was pretty sure that my Urshifu can almost KO this Pokemon. Actually, with Surging Strikes. So, even if Zapdos... 1 second, what is this? Yeah. So, I had hoped that Urshifu can KO the Zapdos or come close. And I also knew that even if this Zapdos KOs my Urshifu, I have a full HP Registeel. I could just send it out and win. The turn begins, and he goes for knockoff, removing my life orb. So my Surging Strikes comes barely below KOing it. But there is a twist. I had Aqua Jet, and Aqua Jet is a priority move, and it KO'd the Zapdos Galar. So in this match, I couldn't use my Registeel at all. Like literally at all. So, and that's it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, share and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time.